Are you rethinking your purpose in life? Being centered in a strong spiritual connection is more important now than ever. Hi, I'm Bryn Blankinship, hypnotherapist, international instructor, and author. Each episode, along with Dr. Pat, I'll share my experiences with guiding spiritual regression clients into the afterlife and the soul lessons gained, prompting you to explore your own soul's journey and empowering you by shifting your perception of yourself and your place in this world. I want you to know that you're here by design, not by accident. You are not alone. You are loved. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. When you stand in your truth and fulfill your purpose, you support others in fulfilling theirs. If this intrigues you, stay tuned in as we explore. Hey everybody, it's Bryn Blankinship, Afterlife teacher, and we're here today with my special guest, Asami Martin. She's a hypnotherapist, she's a regressionist, she's the certification manager for the Hypno-Regression Institute, and she's also a co-instructor. So I want to welcome her. And I want to bring some people to you that are everyday people doing extraordinary things in session. And that certainly describes my guest, Asami Martin. Thank you for being here, Asami.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Great. So we're going to talk about womb regression today. And do we choose our parents before we incarnate? And how womb regression is a way to explore that. So, with womb regression, we're pulling up subconscious memories that we can tap into that way. But Asami, I want to go over your background and just let the listeners have a better idea. In addition to hypnosis, you do Reiki, you're a sound healer, and you specialize in all facets of hypnotherapy, but especially past life regression.
Yes, I love doing that. Is my passion, is working with the past lives, anything in the spiritual. But I do all kinds of hypnosis because I do enjoy all of it.
And so what drew you to doing this work?
I think the very first time I read the book, Brian Weiss's book, Many Lives, Many Masters. It was the first time something really clicked in my mind and in my heart. It just kind of rang all through me. And it was the first time something really jolted me the way it did. And I knew that was something that I was wanted to get involved in, but didn't really think that I would ever have the chance, not knowing that years later that I would find you, who was actually training people like me to do this kind of work.
Yeah. So a lot of people will start out having a session and then they choose to do this work and get certified and become a hypnotherapist and regressionist themselves. And that's exactly what Asami did. Asami started as one of my clients, and then she came back and took my training, one of my very first, might have been my second training. And then, she's been with me kind of moving up the ranks. She was a training assistant, then she became an instructor, certification manager. So there's a pathway that you can take, and each facet of this is fulfilling that purpose, right? That purpose that you have of service, obviously, and exploring things within yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and get into womb regression, because I want to talk about that. And womb regression can be a standalone session, or it can be something that you explore on the way along to the past life. So you go back through current life, childhood, which is age regression. Then you go into the womb. You can have a full session just there, or you can continue on into the past life. And the reason we sometimes include this in past life regression is information gained in the womb can be cross-referenced in the review process with guides in the past life.
Mhm.
So, Asami, why don't you share a little bit more about that? I'll give you a chance, kind of give you the floor and let you share, why would somebody want a session?
So many reasons. For the most part, I would say that we do womb regressions because they have signed up for a past life regression. Um, but I've had many who actually just sign up for the in utero or the womb session, and it's because that is where you are in a space where you have not actually come into the physical world. You're still attached to that spiritual world. And so you're right there in the middle. So there's so much information that you still have a connection to. And so people come wanting to know why they picked their parents. They may want to know like if they were twins or they were adopted and they've never met their parents, and they want that chance to be able to feel, what their mother felt like. Or as far as the twins go, they kind of wanted to know why their mother didn't really love them. And so there's so many different reasons that you can do a womb session. So much information because you are still connected to spirit.
And twins have their own communication system within the womb where they're communicating with each other. And, it's a chance to connect with the birth mom, like Asami said, and really feel the birth mom, you know, because sometimes, you've been adopted or you're in a big family and your mom, your parents don't have time the same kind of time that they have when you're one-on-one with your mom and then you're born and then she's got these other responsibilities. She may have another child coming shortly after. So
Right,
you can find those things out. You can find out about, why the family dynamic, why didn't my, why do I always feel like my mother didn't love me?
right,
Or that I felt feelings of abandonment or that I didn't belong, right? Those are some of the reasons that someone might explore this kind of a session.
right. Absolutely.
You also find out about the family dynamic that you're born into, like your DNA, your ancestry, some characteristics that you're going to have, and some things that are going to make you different from others in the family. You might incarnate into a family that everyone seems to be the same and you seem to be the odd one out, right?
Right,
Or you might be one of the ones that's like everyone else and there's another sibling that's like odd one out, but it kind of
right.
explains that.
Yes.
So
You want me to
Asami,
share a story?
yes,
Okay,
'cause I know you've got some great short stories
I
to share
do.
with us.
I do. So do do we pick our parents before we incarnate? I always have believed that the answer was yes. We do pick our parents. And until I did a session where come to find out they did not pick their parents and they had trouble going into the womb. It was very difficult and there was no connection. And come to find out, I had her sit on a bench and out in space, it was just blackness. And she was waiting and just waiting and waiting, but didn't know what she was waiting for. Later to come to find out what she was actually waiting for was direction. She didn't know what she was supposed to be doing, and she was not inside the womb. So what actually happened was um, she actually did not, her consciousness was not in the womb. She never, in a soul form, never entered the womb at all because there was such a disconnect. And when the question came up, why did you pick your parents? Why did you pick your mother? The answer was, I didn't. And I was floored. I was like, very interesting. Never had one like this before, and it was challenging, to get some answers. But with time and, and just talking about things, finally, what happened was she said that she was too late. And she kept on saying, I'm too late. And I'm like, what are you too late for? And she said that she was too late. I guess the opening for that birth was too late, is what she was trying to say. But she knew who she was supposed to be birthed to. And because she didn't like this womb, she did not want to be there at all. I mean, period, at all. And so I asked her, I said, well, in order to incarnate and come into this current physical world, you do have to go into a womb to develop. And she understood that. And she said, yes, that's what I will do, to come into this world, but I will not be visiting the womb while I'm developing up until I'm born. And so what happened was, she was supposed to be born to her grandmother. And her grandmother was having all kinds of difficulties. She had many children and was going through, some really, really tough times. She didn't explain to me exactly how it happened, but somehow, the universe had went ahead and planned it where, okay, she's not going into this womb the way that we have planned. She's going to go ahead and come through this person. Now, it's still the same family, so it's still the same network that she's coming into, but it's a different person. And so while her whole life, she's totally felt disconnected. And the reason why she actually came was to figure out, why she feels so disconnected. And that was absolutely the reason. And, one of the special things about it was that she said, it wasn't her fault, meaning the mother, the person that she was actually born to, which was very, very healing for both of them, because she knew that it wasn't her actual physical mother's fault for having her and not having that connection and growing up like regular mother and daughter. And so there was a lot of, understanding and compassion for her mother and for herself, understanding why that disconnect was there.
And being able to have some self-acceptance and finding peace is really what this is about. Because when you understand things in a different way, it helps take that pressure off. It helps things fall into place. And, she couldn't come through the woman that was the grandmother. She came through the other person in the family, but still had that deep bond with the grandmother, more so
Yes.
than her actual birth mother. So,
and she's always felt very, very close. Like she always felt like her grandmother was her mother. But it wasn't until this session that she understood why.
yeah. So this is really powerful work for understanding karmic relationships and families. This is past life karma that's being carried forward into current life. And it's an opportunity to redo, reconnect, revisit, repair, shift patterns. Maybe in a different lifetime, they were on opposite ends of that, and the client this time was the mother that time. I mean, I don't know, how many sessions you've done, if you've been able to explore that, but in a future session, that is something that you could find out.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, also in doing this, it helped her to develop qualities of independence, right? Because she kind of knew she was going to be on her own a little bit. Yeah.
She did. And she is very strong in her way, because she's always felt alone. And I feel like her heart really mended a lot after this session, just understanding, the bigger picture and what actually happened, and was able to put those pieces together, and really made her feel stronger and more herself, and whole, and there was such healing in the family just by understanding what was actually happened. A lot of forgiveness, forgiveness of others, and forgiveness of yourself. And so, yeah, it was a tremendous session,
Because this is
one I've never
heart-centered.
had.
Yeah. This is heart-centered work. And so
Yes.
when your client is in the chair shifting their patterns, we're all connected through time and space. So it is connecting to the other people in the situation, wherever they are energetically. And when the client shifts, then it's shifting the dynamic and the other person feels it. Sometimes when I've done my own work, I would be coming home from a session or a training where I was the practitioner, and out of the blue, I would just get a call from my mother, and she's like, "I was just thinking about you." I was
Right.
like, "Oh, I was thinking about you," and we would talk about it, and she would go, "How could you know these things?" And yes, some of those things did happen before you were born, when I was pregnant with you. How could you know that? So she became very interested in what I was doing, way back, because I got that confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful, beautiful experience of, deep understanding that I don't know how else you would be able to get that.
Right. And to get some of the details,
Hmm.
that give you that confirmation too.
Hmm.
Because like when someone is pregnant, the child doesn't, you think they don't know the circumstances, but that child is feeling everything in the womb.
Yes.
And so they might have picked up some anxiety or just some different feelings along the way, but not understand where they're coming from. So
Mhm.
going back in, you get to explore, like maybe dad wasn't there. Maybe dad was there and he was very excited, right? You feel that closeness to your dad. Do you have another example of a session that comes to mind that you might want to share?
Yes. Another client had come to try to understand why she suppresses her talents, her energy. And so we went into the room, and come to find out, it was karmic for sure. She was extremely powerful in her past lives, very, very powerful. And along with power, there's a lot of things that happen. Um, and so in this particular life, yes, she was still powerful, but the plan was that she was not going to have access to all of those powers until she dealt with the family. It was a very, very chaotic, abusive kind of experience with her family. Um, and so what she finally understood was she did have to like understand and go through all these hardships and become more forgiving. Of course, there was anger and all of that. Um, but to come out to the other side and really truly learn unconditional love, not just for herself, but for others. And only then would she be able to tap in to, her talents, her, who she truly is, like, from all the other lives, but in the most positive way. She had to go through steps and stages of learning and all of that before they would give her access to her talents. And
And what
she
we're
is very
talking
powerful.
about is soul growth, right?
Mhm.
Like, why does the soul go through that? The soul knows. The soul has an innate wisdom. It knows what it needs, and then it works with the others in the soul group to formulate these relationships that it needs, along with guides, your soul group, others that you will work with in the lifetime to structure some dynamics that will give you the foundation that you need to incarnate into. And
Right.
then you have choice. Once you get here, you have choice, but ultimately you know that it's for the highest good to move forward with these things. And if you don't, then you're still going to have to come back and have another lifetime to explore it. So most times, after you dig your heels in a little bit, then you're like, okay, fine, I'll just go do it.
Right.
It's
Right.
lovely on the other side of it. You know,
Right.
we're down here and they're celebrating in the spirit realm, yay, they did it. They overcame that challenge that we know how hard it was for them, how challenging that was to deal with.
And we're not saying that all the terrible things that, people go through is the right thing, that we're absolutely not saying that, well, yeah, you had to go through those things. Terrible things happen, tragic things happen, but it's getting through those things and still evolving and transforming and learning more about yourself, and continuing on your journey. That is so important. So, yeah.
Because they are living their purpose, which is helping you live yours and vice versa. And so sometimes we don't start at the same time. Our incarnations will overlap, but there could be, years between. And then the other person or people are going to leave while you're still here working out your stuff, right? But you're different from having been with them, having resolved karma, having grown, and then you're moving on to some new experiences because you met those challenges.
Yeah. Sometimes you wonder, why did I sign up for all this? But
What was I thinking?
there's always a bigger picture that we may not remember right now, but so that makes life really interesting.
Yeah, it does. But, sometimes you have to laugh and just say, what was I thinking? And then sometimes you got to roll your sleeves up and get to work. And, ultimately it's empowering you. This work is about empowering you to put the responsibility back on yourself instead of blaming others. You're responsible for your incarnation. You chose to be here, so making the most out of it that you can, right? Making the most out of this life will give you that soul growth, and then there's a huge celebration on the other side when you return. You know, there's a celebration while you're still here. You can feel them when you meet those milestones. They're jumping up and down just like you are when you're like, oh, I got through that one.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, Asami, how can we reach you? How can we find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you would look me up, my center is called Innerworks Hypnosis Center. And that would be one word if you look through social media. And I have my link in there where you can book from that, or it'll take you to the website.
Asami is like my little secret weapon because I've gotten so busy these days that I can't do all the sessions. I can't. So if I refer out, she's one of the people that I trust with clients to be able to help them and refer them. So if you are interested in this work, we're talking about the hypnotic pathway to purpose. And if you're interested in this work, you can go to brynblankinship.com. We have trainings coming up. We have an intro to hypnosis in September 20th and 21st. And then we have another one October 4th and 5th. And these lead into the level 1 hypno skill sets training in October, and then past life regression, hypno regression in November. So if this speaks to you, if this calls to your heart, then go check out the links and sign up for the training, get started, and then you can be practicing by the end of this year. You can be up and practicing and beginning to start your career as a certified hypnotherapist and past life regressionist.
I opened up a center as soon as I got certified. So, I mean, after you take the training, you know all that you need to actually start practicing. Of course, you know, the more experience you get, the better you get. But she does everything that you learn in training is so well-rounded that you will be ready to have a practice. So highly recommend
this. Thank you, Asami. You can do this full or part-time. And so Asami, she was off to the races. Like, she still had her day job, and she started the center, and she did that until now. She's moved into this full-time, you know? So it's flexible depending on what you need and how you want to do it. But we give you that foundation so that you can adjust it, you know, to your life and the life, you can create the life you want to live doing this work and helping others.
Yeah. It's the best thing I've ever done.
Me too. Honestly. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to have met you because, I mean, lifelong friends, you know, well, from other lives as well.
Right.
That's another show.
Yeah. Thank you, Bryn.
Thanks, Asami. Thanks for being here. Thank you, everyone. Bryn Blankinship, Afterlife teacher, Soul Lessons bringing you full circle. You've been listening to Afterlife Teacher, Soul Lessons bringing you Bryn Blankinship and Dr. Pat. Tune into Transformation Talk Radio for more discussions of the soul's journey across different lifetimes and soul lessons gained, helping you to consider the deeper reason you are here. Bryn shares her wisdom spanning 20 years of guiding spiritual regression clients into the afterlife and connecting them with their spiritual team and soul's purpose to bring them full circle, helping you gain insight into your own soul's purpose while supporting others in fulfilling theirs. Living in partnership with your soul, with less worry and greater trust, you can be in divine flow and thrive. For more information on becoming a certified hypnotherapist and regressionist and assisting with the global transformation taking place, visit brynblankinship.com.